Hi there, I'm Michelle. Touring a 55 plus community for the very first time is honestly such an exciting milestone. But let's be real for a second. It can also get pretty overwhelming pretty quickly. There are just so many gorgeous options out there, and it's so easy to get completely swept up in the magic of a beautifully staged model home or a bright sunny clubhouse. So today, I'm sharing an explainer covering the absolutely essential questions you need to ask when you're out on these tours. We want to make sure you find the perfect, genuine fit for your next chapter. It all really comes down to this idea. Sales materials are designed to sell a lifestyle, but your questions are designed to protect your decision. Those glossy brochures and friendly sales reps are great, but you need real answers. In fact, research from Kiplinger actually points out that buyers who really take the time to dig in and research their options end up far happier with their final choice than folks who just jump in based on amenities alone. Section 1. Financial and Legal Realities. Let's talk about protecting your financial future. So the absolute first thing you should ask on your tour is, what does the HOA fee actually cover? Literally every 55-plus community is going to charge a monthly fee, but you've got to look right past that dollar amount to figure out what kind of value you're actually getting. Because what that fee includes, it varies so widely from place to place. Is landscaping and snow removal included? What about exterior maintenance? Does it cover your clubhouse access? Or, hey, even your cable and internet? Sometimes those perks are bundled up nicely, but other times they're treated as separate add-on charges. So, rule of thumb, always, always get a written breakdown. Never just rely on a quick verbal summary from the sales team. Okay, next step, I want you to focus on the number 5. Ask them about their HOA fee increases over the past 5 years, not just the rate they're quoting you today. If a community has a track record of steep annual jumps, well, that's a pretty big warning sign. That pattern usually doesn't magically stop once you move in, so it definitely deserves a closer look. Next, let's look at the legal backbone of these neighborhoods. A lot of these communities operate under something called HOPA, which stands for the Housing for Older Persons Act. Basically, it's a federal exemption that allows a community to legally restrict who lives there based on age. But here's the kicker. You need to ask management how they actually verify ages to make sure they're staying compliant. If they can't give you a straight answer, they might not be protecting your legal rights down the line. And speaking of age, what happens if your spouse or partner happens to be under 55? Federal guidelines usually require that at least 80% of the occupied units have at least one person who is 55 or older. That leaves a potential 20% allowance for folks under 55. If you've got a mixed-age household, ask them point blank how they handle that allowance. And again, get those rules in writing so there are absolutely no surprises later. Moving right along to Section 2, the true community vibe. This is all about looking past the marketing. One of the absolute best, most revealing questions you can ask is just, how long do residents typically stay? Think about it. When people stay put in a community for decades, that is a wonderful, reassuring signal. It means there's real stability and people genuinely love living there. On the flip side of that, if there's high turnover, meaning people are constantly moving out, that's a bit of a red flag. It can point to rising fees, maybe some frustrating management changes, or just a mismatch between those shiny marketing promises and the actual daily reality. It just means you need to gently dig a little deeper. And to really uncover that daily reality, ask this: can I talk to current residents without a sales rep present? Please know, you have every right to ask this. A confident, well-run community is going to welcome that request with open arms because they want you chatting with your future neighbors. When you do happen to catch a resident for a quick, casual chat, maybe you're just walking the grounds or crossing paths in the parking lot, ask them the specifics. Ask, how responsive is management when something breaks? What are the actual daily noise levels like? Is finding guest parking a total nightmare on busy weekends? Honestly, these casual, unscripted conversations will tell you so much more than the official tour ever could. All right, Section 3, Family and Future Needs. Let's plan ahead a bit. You'll definitely want to ask, what design features support aging in place? Because, surprise, not every 55-plus community is built the same way. Some places just market themselves to seniors without making any real physical layout changes, while others offer truly thoughtful universal design features. It's so important to make this distinction when you're touring. You have to compare the model home upgrades, which usually cost you extra, with the standard features that are actually included in the unit you'd be buying. Don't let those flashy, costly upgrades distract you. Look for standard built-in things like zero-step entries, wider doorways, and walk-in showers. Okay, here is a massive one that gets overlooked all the time.
What is the guest and grandchildren policy? If you're a super active grandparent, or if you just have younger family members visiting all the time, these rules can literally make or break your decision to move there. The harsh reality is that a lot of these communities strictly limit stays for anyone under 18 to just a couple of weeks per year. Before you fall head over heels for a beautiful floor plan, you absolutely must get their exact visitation policy in writing. Because a gorgeous house that doesn't let your family visit the way you want, it's just not the right fit.
And finally, Section 4, your next confident step. Let's talk about making your choice. I want to share a quick story with you about a homeowner who recently toured 3 different communities. Tour number 1 had unbelievable landscaping, but they couldn't clearly explain their age verification rules. Tour number 2 felt really friendly, but the residents quietly mentioned constantly rising fees. But then, tour number 3. The staff answered every single question with total transparency, and they even encouraged her to go chat with the residents on her own. Because she brought these exact questions, she was able to look past the superficial stuff and make one incredibly confident, perfect decision.
To do exactly what she did, I highly recommend bringing a physical, written list with you or using a notes app on your phone during your tours. These sales conversations move so fast, and it is incredibly easy to forget these 7 crucial questions in the heat of the moment once they start talking about shiny amenities and pricing. Having a written list is going to keep you perfectly focused.
Finally, please remember that you do not have to navigate this big transition all by yourself. If you're currently weighing whether a 55-plus community is the right fit for your next chapter, I warmly invite you to visit our free resource library and our Homeowners 50-plus page. You'll find a ton of practical, totally no-pressure guides on downsizing, aging in place, and senior living. Again, I'm Michelle, and I am right here to help you step into your next chapter gently and completely at your own pace. Thanks so much for joining me today. So what's the one question you are definitely adding to your list for your next tour? Let that thought guide you as you explore all your beautiful new options.